Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and today we're going to be taking a look at this. You've seen it when I mounted the scope on it with the Wheeler Fat Wrench. Today we're going to be taking a look at the CZ512. This is a semi-automatic 22 Winchester Magnum rimfire. It's got a 20.5-inch barrel on it, weighs about 6 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's got a cross bolt safety on it, and it's got a nice beech wood stock on it here. It has an aluminum alloy upper on it and a polymer lower with a 5-round magazine. There are other magazines available for it, I think a 10-round. There might even be some bigger ones than that, but the 5-round fits in there pretty good. Let's take a look at how this thing comes apart, because really it's pretty easy to maintain. Okay, I've already got the magazine out of it. Now you will need a tool to field strip this, but you've probably already got one in your pocket. We're going to use a penny. A nickel will work too. The problem is, the bigger the coin you use, the more chance you have of scraping up the edge of that hole there where the screw is. It's right above the sling swivel on there. So we're going to take a penny and we're going to go ahead and loosen this up. And you have to actually turn it quite a ways with the coin, or a screwdriver if you want to get it out of there. All right, that's the only, well, there's going to be a couple loose pieces you're going to need, but go ahead and hang on to this, because once you pull that fore end off, set that to the side, then there's a pin right here in the receiver, and this holds the upper receiver to the lower receiver. Take your screw, go ahead and push that out, and it does not take very much effort at all to get that pin out of there. Once you got that there, go ahead and pull your pin the rest of the way out. There's no retention on there. The only thing that holds it on is your fore end. The wood goes up there and covers up that piece. Set that out of the way, flip it over, and what you're going to do is you're going to slide your upper receiver over, and you're going to get the bolt lined up with the hole at the back right there. So once you've got that back there, go ahead and pull your charging handle out. And another thing you're going to want to do when you do this is, don't just pull it right off. This spring right here is your recoil spring and guide rod. Hold your fingers down on it just a little bit. It doesn't take much effort, but it wants to pop up on you a little bit. And that's it. That's all it takes. It slides off really easy. We'll go ahead and set that off to the side. And then your bolt, you're going to take and push that back a little bit, pick up the front of it, and pull it back. And then there's your recoil spring and your guide rod. Now this little thing kind of wants to flop around a little bit. On the 22 long rifle version, it's a double rod on there, which is kind of weird. You'd think this would need more, being a 22 Magnum. But there's your bolt. It's a pretty big, massive bolt. Now this is a direct blowback system, which means that the cartridge pushes that back. There's no delay, no locking mechanism on it or anything. Your extractor is right there. Your firing pin is in the top, runs all the way to the back. Your hammer is going to come up and hit that right there. It is hammer fired. Your hammer is down on the inside right here. I'll go ahead and pull it and let it up. There's your hammer right there. Don't let it just fly, because that can do some damage to it. And you're going to need it to be locked down when you put it back together. And that's it. The bolt is really easy to clean up. Now, I've already had this gun out there after I mounted the scope on it. I took it out to do some sighting in. And I had a few issues where the bolt would slide back, pick up another round and charge it, but would not reset the hammer. Your bolt actually has to push down on the hammer and put it right back to where it goes. And I brought it back to the house and I cleaned it up a little bit. And I'm actually going to put, normally I use frog lube, but I'm going to go ahead and put some of this M7 Pro on there. Give it a good shaking. And we're going to put a couple little drips of that on the bottom side of the bolt right here, where it rides on that polymer receiver. It does not take much of this stuff, and you'll see it ooze for a long time if you put too much on. We'll get that out of the way, and we'll go ahead and put this back together. Now, when you're reassembling this, it's kind of a pain to get this in there. Not the spring on the guide rod, but you've got quite a bit of distance you got to make up, and your spring's going to want to bind on you and stuff, because you've got to get it inside there. So you're going to want to make sure it lines up well with it right there. So what we're going to do is, I found the best way to do this is go ahead and set it on your leg. Sorry about that. Set it on your leg and the countertop maybe, and get that back piece that wants to flop around on you. And there's a little spot in the back there that it will rest in. Hold that on there. guide that guide rod into there, and then put it right down on the rails there. Make sure everything is snapped in where it needs to go, and it will want to pop up on you a little bit in the back there. It will probably stay like that, but I would keep a little bit of pressure on it so it stays lined up. Now when you go to put this thing back together, we'll go ahead and slide the upper receiver back on there, and it just fits right in. There's little grooves there. Don't slide it all the way back because you got to flip it back over and put your charging handle back on. So you'll slide this back to where your charging handle, the hole and the bolt is right there, and then go ahead and take your pin. Now your pin has 2 flat spots in it, and those are going to be what need to ride in this groove right here. So put it in there. Once you got it lined up, it should slide all the way back on there. Now there's a little bit of pressure pushing the receiver forward some. It doesn't take much to push it back. Take your pin, put it right down inside there, and you should not need any tools to do this. Just get it all lined up. It will slide all the way through pretty easy too if you got it lined up just right. Look at me fighting with it here on camera. All right, now once you've got it in there, go ahead and take your fore end, put it back on there, and that's the part that's going to hold your pin from falling out. Once you got that on there, go ahead and put your screw back in the fore end, and it's ready to go. Now you don't have to really hammer down on that screw, just a little snugging is all it's going to need. You can go ahead and function check, make sure your bolt moves properly. Don't dry fire, it's rim fire, so we don't want to cause any damage to the firing pin or the end of the chamber there where the firing pin pinches the rim of the round in there. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing taken out to the rifle range out there and give it a few shots and see if I still have any more of those issues with it not wanting to reset the hammer. All right, everybody, we're out here on the range. It is very cold out today. I'd say somewhere in the 20s. You can see a lot of sunshine behind me. Unfortunately, it's not right here on the bench, and it is windy too. I've got 5 rounds of CCI Maxi-Mag 22 WMR loaded up in there. These are a total metal jacket, 40 grain. Factory says they're coming in at 1875 feet per second. Now I did adjust my scope a little bit and I have not zeroed it in, so I'm going to take a few shots and get it zeroed in, and then we'll also see how it does for reliability, because like I said before, it was not resetting the trigger on there, but it would chamber around. It just wouldn't set the trigger back or the hammer back where it needed to be. So let's give it a try and see what it does. Now there's where it did it. Let's see, I think it chambered it. It did chamber the round, but it did not reset the hammer. So pulling it all the way back will reset the hammer on it. We'll put this round back in there. Have to do it one more time and see what it does. And it did it again. It chambered the round, but did not reset the hammer. All right, I'm gonna go up there and look at that and see where I need to adjust, because like I said, I had to move the scope just a little bit. It is cold. All right, we'll give that a try. Again, the cycling issue here. Ruger did this with the 1022 back in the 60s. They made a direct blowback 22 Magnum or WMR, and they had some issues with it. I think they only produced it for 1, maybe 2 years and discontinued it because there were issues with it. And the only other .22 semi-automatic rifle I have ever seen pretty much is the Kel-Tec CMR 30. I've got one of those, and it specifically needs 40 grain or heavier bullets to do, but it has a delayed blowback system in it. Same way with the PMR, the pistol Magnum Rimfire 30. It has a delayed blowback design in it too. So we're gonna give it a few more tries, 5 more shots to zero it, and then we'll see how it does for reliability. Again, it did not reset the trigger. Now, to reset the trigger on this thing, the bolt has to come all the way rearward, as far back as it'll go, because that's where the back of the bolt contacts the hammer and folds it downward there and catches on the S.C.A.R there, so the trigger can release it. Same thing. I'm not real pleased with that. It might as well be a bolt action. They do make this in a bolt action. I think it's the 457, somewhere around there. Same thing. It gets to be a little frustrating when it does things like that. It's semi-auto. It's supposed to be as fast as I can pull the trigger. It should shoot around. No, it's not doing it at all now. It did the first couple. All right, let's go down there. I'll take the camera with me this time. We'll take a look at those shots, both the 5-round groups I did. You already see the reliability issues with it, and that's not cool there. That you shouldn't be doing that. It's a brand new gun. It's had, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 rounds through it so far already. Like I said, I had this out here before and had the same problems, not quite as often. That second magazine, I don't think I had 2 consecutive shots without having to take it out and, you know, reset the hammer in there. But let's go up there and take a peek at it real quick. There's some big old chunks of ice here at my 50-yard target. This is just groundwater that's coming up and freezing, or been frozen for days anyways. All right, here's the first group, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got a flyer way up there, which is not the greatest. My second group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's absolutely terrible, I think, anyways. I don't know if it's the cold, me being cold, or just the cold weather having an effect on the accuracy here, but that's not all that great. All right, I got a couple Coke Zero bottles set up here on top of the steel target stand there. I'm gonna give those a couple shots and just see if I can hit them with the grouping like that. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. All right, I was able to hit both of the bottles from 100 yards, but I had to reset the hammer both times I did it, and I'm just not liking that. It shouldn't be that way just because of the cold. When I was out here before, it was slightly warmer. It might have been in the 40s when I was sighting it in, and I still had at least 1 round in every magazine that I had to reset the hammer on because it wouldn't do it itself. It should function in any temperature, really. The accuracy, it could be a little bit because of the cold, I'm not sure, but so far I'm not real happy with it. Let's go up there and see if we can get rid of a bunch more rounds. I was able to hit both of those bottles with 2 shots, 1 for each. It's just, I I might as well have gotten the bolt action version of this gun. Now, I've heard CZ makes great products, and one of the reasons I bought this gun was because another channel I watched, Chuckin, he did one and he had great luck with that. I even contacted him and asked him if he had any issues with it not resetting the hammer. He said he didn't have any issues at all. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it, but I don't know. Go ahead and chamber one this time. And if I can find it, I actually do have 2 more bottles set up there somewhere. Zoom out a little bit so I can see. There it is. The other 2 bottles are at about 125 yards. Got that one. Missed that one, but it did cycle properly. It did not on the 3rd one though. So being kind of hit and miss with that resetting the hammer is not cool. And I got that bottle. Like I said, I don't like something that is supposed to function a certain way and it doesn't do it. Maybe I just got a lemon, I don't know, but it should, to me, it should function properly right out of the box. And the accuracy issue there, of course, a pop bottle, I'm not trying to get a real tight group on it. Why I couldn't get better groups than that on that 100-yard silhouette or sight-in target there, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it a little bit more and see if I can do any better with it. I'm not sure what the deal is with it. Yeah, the barrel's still cold. Of course, when it's 20 degrees outside, you'll have that. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a little better, a little tighter on the group. And I actually had 3 of them that cycled properly. The other 2 I had to manually reset the trigger. Those 2, really nice. About a 1/2 inch low, probably 1 1/4 inch low. And if we just say that's a flyer right there and take that one out, that 4-shot group is not bad. Maybe it is just me. I'll try some more down here and see what it does. Alright, I forgot to push record on those first 2 shots. See if we can see what's going on here with the cycling. I don't think you'll be able to tell anything, but we'll give it a try anyways. Those 2 did cycle properly. It also does have a bolt hold open right here in the trigger guard, so you can pull the bolt back, push up on that, and it will lock the bolt in the open position. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 3 are not terrible. Those 2 there are great. The other 3 there, not so much. Like I said, I don't know if it's me because it's so cold out or it's the gun because it's so cold out. I do not like the having to reset the hammer thing. That shouldn't happen. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the CZ512. Like I said, it's a 22 Winchester Magnum rimfire, semi-auto. Not a lot of those around, and there are issues with them. Maybe I just got a bad one. I don't know. I have cleaned it. I have lubed it. I have taken it out before this and shot it a few times and still had the same issues. Although it was slightly warmer out, I didn't have as many issues. But really, if it's going to be temperature dependent on reliability, that's not something I want, because I mean in the winter and the fall, I mean that's the ideal time to get out and do some rabbit hunting or something. You know, maybe it's going to be a little nicer during warmer weather, and maybe I'll get it back out again in the spring or maybe early summer and give it a few tries and see how it does. But personally, the way it is with the reliability, I want to recommend it, but really I can't. And I'm not sure what the issues are with it, but I brought you guys out here to see what I'm going through, and you got to see at the same time I did, pretty much. You know, it's pre-recorded for you, but same thing, issues with it, and not issues I like either. The accuracy is not that great. It could be the barrel, or it could be the gun, it could be me. It is really cold out. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we'll find out again in the spring and see if it does any different. But that was today's test. Anyways, if you could hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos, hit this other little button over here to subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for taking a look at the CZ512 with me, and maybe we'll take another look at it in warmer weather.